the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard with you live downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Loaded 3-hour program coming up today. In 30 minutes, Nick Bogdanovich on the program, his weekly spot. Sports Gambling Hall of Famer, longtime Vegas odds maker on tonight's card. And maybe some tournament numbers as well that are available now to bet as we're underway now. Will Brinson on the NFL coming up in an hour, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we'll sprinkle in NBA, NFL, college basketball throughout the entire show, Paulie. Right now, as we have another weekend in the books, and the calendar did flip over the weekend, that criteria that over the years has been like rock solid, with the exception of basically 1 year. UConn in 2014 was the outlier. They were not a very good basketball team, and they went on to win the whole thing. Their numbers tell you that it was a fluke that season. Well, almost every other year, Baylor had the number 21 defense when they beat Gonzaga a couple of years ago. But other than that, every team essentially has to have a top 20 offense and top 20 defense at Ken Pom to eventually win the national title. We only have 5 teams right now. That's it. And Duke, Auburn, Houston, Florida, and Arizona are the only 5 teams that meet that criteria as we speak.
Mm-hmm. And it might be the Auburn Invitational. That's so impressive what they did Saturday to thump Kentucky. And maybe it's just like UConn Part 2, and it's no problem. And they end up winning it. Duke's, they're good, but it's difficult to get a gauge of, are they Final Four? Can they win it all because of the competition? But maybe that's the case as well. And you know how we feel about Houston. We love them. I don't get the Arizona thing at all. That doesn't make any sense what the numbers are, and to think that this could be a Final Four team or even a Elite Eight after the issues they've had in the tournament.
Sure. Teams that are close to qualifying, top 20 offense / top 20 defense. Tennessee, they're on the outside because their offense is 27th overall. They are the number 1 defensive team in the country. Texas Tech, another impressive win.
Yep.
9th offense, 29th on defense.
I can get there.
You can?
Yes.
Do you have any futures on them at all?
Nope.
Pondering Final Four or something like that?
I think they can do that, yes.
I'm going to throw 2 teams at you with the Final Four numbers.
Okay, yeah.
Here in a minute. Michigan State's getting closer. They're 5th on defense, 32nd on offense. They're not a great shooting team. But again, nice win yesterday over Wisconsin. Bart Torvik has them projected. Now, this is no opinion. It's only numbers-based, right? Projecting the rest of the season, he has them getting a 1 seed. So if they win out, which they only have a couple of games left, and then the Big Ten title game, they're going to, I guess, be in the mix.
Yeah, I don't know about
They're going to have an argument?
Yeah, I don't see that.
Okay.
Could be wrong. We'll see.
Iowa State is close.
Yep.
9th on defense, 21st on offense. And then how about Louisville?
They're on fire.
Yes, they are. Blazing hot. They're top 25 in both offense and defense. They are 22-1 to make the Final Four at FanDuel and at DraftKings. 22-1. It's been a great story. Really, really solid season. Nobody, including us, have really talked about Louisville.
Right. Again, hard to get a gauge, though, because of the schedule.
So I've shopped around, looked at several books. You can give me the Dikembe Mutombo, reject it in my face if you would like. But am I crazy to think that BYU at 25-1 to make the Final Four is a good bet?
I don't like it. I love it.
You love it?
I love this team. Absolutely. It's 6 in a row. 2 of the wins are against West Virginia. They get off to the horrible start Saturday, where they're stuck on like 6 points through 10 minutes. Yep. Then you look up and they blast them and score 50 in the second half.
They are creaming teams.
And look, did you see, is it 7, 8, whatever, what they're catching tomorrow at Iowa State? I mean, I love BYU tomorrow. The run that they're on, they are so good offensively. And how many times do you have a team where their head coach was a top assistant the previous year with the NBA and what BYU has? You are right. They're blowing people out. They've been impressive. They can score. And the bad taste in their mouth for what happened against Duquesne in the tournament, where they were a popular pick and stubbed their toe. So I'm with you on BYU, and I'll even throw VCU at you too.
VCU,
I love this team. Again, it's not only are you winning a lot of games, but are you blowing people out? And that's what they've done. And we touched on it briefly Friday, and then they went out and they did it again. 15 of 16 they've won. Every win except one has been by 8 points or more.
Yeah, killing teams. So again, we tell you this constantly, but you need to shop around. VCU is the perfect example. FanDuel has 36-1 to make the Final Four. DraftKings 60. Wow. To 1 to make the Final Four.
Well, the problem is, though, I mean, what happens? Are you getting an actual at large?
Yeah.
Now, they should be able to go through the A-10 tournament. The second best team is George Mason, and they pounded them as well. But that goes back to hopefully they get in if they don't win the conference tournament. But I think that's a good price.
BYU, back to them for 1 second. They're 12th on offense, so they're going to be able to their defense is an issue. It's 67th overall. And I'm looking at the bracket matrix. So there's 115 different sites or people who do the bracketology. It's the average rank out of all of them. It'll update, I'm sure, maybe a little bit later on today. BYU is currently, the average seed line is an 8. How are they an 8 seed? I mean, if they right? I mean, if they are competitive and it's a close game / win tomorrow on the road against Iowa State,
getting 8.5 at one book. Yep.
Yeah, and if they win a couple, maybe, or it's impressive and they're playing tight games in the Big 12 tournament, they're like a 5.
I know.
There's no way, no how that team should be an 8.
But I'm not going to give you the Mutombo either, based on what we see every March. And NC State last year, and Florida Atlantic the year before that, and San Diego State, and the VCUs and Butlers that we've talked about, the Loyola Chicagos. I can't give you a Mutombo on anything.
So here's the other team I wanted to throw at you. And if you go back to our Friday conversation with Bruce Marshall, who's a longtime college basketball bettor and handicapper, he told you, he told us and the entire audience how impressive Oregon has been in his opinion, right? And Dana Altman, come March, he's put together some pretty good runs. And they were very good by eventually blasting USC again yesterday. They are projected, as of right now, to get a 6 seed. And I think that might be a little bit low, especially if they, win a game or two, or who knows how long the run might go on in the Big Ten tournament. They are as high as 36-1 to win the Big Ten. If they would get like a 4, or if I'm telling you right now, when the regions come out next Selection Sunday for the odds, I cannot imagine a scenario where Oregon's going to be higher than 35-1. Mm-hmm. I just can't see that happening.
Yeah.
They're pretty solid. They're playing good basketball right now.
Yep. I'm with you on Oregon. Yep.
UC San Diego, projected to be a 12 seed. They're top 50 in offense and defense, 80-1 highest number to make the. But you actually might get a better number on them based on the bracket that they get if they make the tournament.
Yeah. They also can't be a 12 seed.
I would totally agree.
We got to fix this. The run that they're on. Have you made any bets? We have odds on 12 conference tournaments.
Well, I know one that I definitely want to bet. I think we're on the same page with this one, too.
Bradley. I took Bradley at plus 340 to win the Missouri Valley. And Drake plays Friday morning as the 1 seed. Bradley just spanked Northern Iowa. They're going to make the case that Drake has the easier path to get to the championship. But Bradley and Drake split during the regular season. They met not that long ago. Bradley won on the road. I don't like how Drake's playing down the stretch, and Bradley, if they face Northern Iowa in the semis, again, just buried them. So I took plus 340 on Bradley for Arch Madness, and Gonzaga is as high as $1.45.
Make it make sense.
I know. St. Mary's goes right through the league, sweeps Gonzaga, lost one conference game by 1 point. Gonzaga is $1.45 to win the West Coast. They have made the title game 27 years in a row. Who's going to break that record? They made the conference title game 27 years in a row.
You got to be kidding.
A 1 or a 2 seed has won it 15 of the last 16.
Wow.
This gets underway later in the week.
I saw the number on St. Mary's as high as plus 150 to win it. I know. What am I missing here?
I don't know. It's just that they think, as always, Gonzaga fans take over, but it doesn't mean St. Mary's has won it. They're the better team.
I know.
They swept them. I know. That's too much respect for Gonzaga.
Here's what you're going to hear from a lot of people if we get St. Mary's Gonzaga the third time in the West Coast title game. Very difficult to beat a team 3 times in 1 year. Paul, let me tell you, it's sewed, and really it's not. Not that difficult. But that, again, tells you the St. Mary's team has been a machine this year with the regular season sweep over Gonzaga. And this tells you about the power rating for the Zags. And we told you the ultimate,
way off.
The scenario here, though, is what we need to have as bettors, right? We need them to get like an 8 or a 9 seed and then win that opening round game. And they're catching I don't know. Again, I said last week, catching 3 against Alabama?
Yeah.
Or whoever the 1 seed would be. Thank you very much. I'll have to bet against Gonzaga at that point.
Good job. I was wrong. They took out Santa Clara and San Francisco, no problem on the road. So good job there. But I'm with you that their power rating's been out of whack for 3-4 months.
Yep. So the A-Sun is underway. A good write-up. All these, Adam Berg, Zach Cohen, Jonathan Von Tobel, they're going to have great summaries on vsin.com for all these tournament conferences. This is from Adam Burke on the A-Sun. Queens, he's looking for a dark horse. They are one of those teams with the provisional period still in hand. So they can win the tournament, but they would not make the NCAA tournament because they just made the leap to Division I recently. So their quarterfinal matchup is against Gulf Coast. That's tonight. They're catching 4.5. Queens has already defeated Lipscomb and North Alabama, the 1 and the 2 seeds here. So, and they played Gulf Coast twice this year, completely polar opposite games. 92-83 was one game. Yep. The other was 60-47.
Yep. I do like the 7 seed tonight, Austin Peay. They take on North Alabama, the 2 seed, the Lions. Both games were close. I think 12.5 is too much.
Yep.
They played last night, and they were great in the second half.
Yeah, and Steve Makinen has this as well. Part of his, you got to pay attention to the stuff on vsin.com. I highly encourage you to read it every single day. Single-digit dogs in the A-Sun are 24-25 straight up, but 32-15-2 ATS since 2014. That's 68%. In this tournament alone, single-digit dogs.
Got to watch it and read it every single day. Opening day, March 17th, Tokyo, Dodgers, Cubs. Get our betting guide, previews of every team. Jensen Lewis, handicapping pitchers. Cy Young as well. Stat glossary, general baseball betting tips. Cy Young MVP, World Series odds, everything you want. vsin.com/subscribe. From advanced metrics to sharp betting angles. Get the betting guide, your intro offer, $9.99. Get the VSiN subscription today, vsin.com/subscribe. Great job, Jensen. Great job, Burke, and everyone who put it together.
So those are your two conference bets so far, Bradley, and then also St. Mary's?
Yes.
Yeah, I like Mary's as well.
St. Tommy's is also favored to win the Summit, even though they can't go to the tournament. How about that? Omaha won the league. They're the 4th choice.
Easy. A big name is on the move in the NFL. An updated NFL draft odds after the combine. The odds keep on shrinking for this to happen with the first overall pick, and I'm not talking about Cam Ward.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Busy hour lined up in 15 minutes. One of the highest totals you're ever going to see in modern NBA basketball. That's on the betting card for tonight. College basketball card, updated future numbers there. And here we'll begin talking some NFL as Will Brinson does a great job covering the league. And he's at CBS Sports, joins the program on the Progressive Guest Line. Will, good afternoon. Thanks for the time as always. How are you today?
Always fun to talk to you guys. I think I might be out in Vegas in a couple of weeks. Might have to stop by and say what's up. But everything good? Hope everything's going well with y'all.
Yeah. Are you coming for the Madness then?
Yeah. It'd be right around the Sweet 16, I think.
Oh, okay.
Good timing.
Great time. Absolutely. Let's go here. So the Titans recently at DK, they have a market up, the team to pick number 1 overall, and they were almost touching $3. It was like minus 290, minus 295 in that neighborhood. Now they're minus 175. So where are you at thinking with the Titans trading the pick or keeping it overall and then taking somebody with it?
Well, with the Titans, you have, I think when we talk about this draft and specifically the top of the draft, you kind of have to look at where are teams vis-a-vis their front office and their coaching staff and the amount of pressure that may be put on those particular units within the franchise in terms of getting a quarterback. And I think out of all the teams in the top 3, the Titans have the least pressure, right? You got this new GM. That whole situation was weird. Obviously, Callahan, coming back for a second year, but maybe you can talk the ownership and Levis is kind of foisted on him a little bit. You could see a situation where they might be willing to trade. The Browns, you feel like they've got to get the quarterback right. There's been some negative buzz with Kevin Stefanski, and then the Giants. I think there is nobody with more pressure on them this offseason than Joe Shane and Brian Daboll. And this is where things go bad for bad franchises when you put this, maybe not undue amount of pressure, but a ton of pressure on a coaching staff, on a front office. You have to find the quarterback, right? And especially now that I know he's not a quarterback, but the Saquon Barkley and the famous John Mara memes where he's like, so Saquon goes to Philly, I'm not going to be able to sleep at night. Then he goes and wins a Super Bowl. I think there's a ton of pressure on the Giants. And so to answer the question, I think the Giants at 3 look like a team especially given all the rumors and speculation we had last year about their interest in trading up to try and get a quarterback, whether it was Drake May or Jaden Daniels. I think they look like a team that would be willing or able, because of the pressure there with the front office. And Joe Shane said he's not going to mortgage a future. That's all nice and well until you're about to get fired. And then the location, you're sitting at 3. You can move to 1. You can draft a quarterback first overall in that New York market. I think there's a lot of appeal there. And then you have some potential superstars at the top of this draft, whether it's Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, who, look, I'm not saying I would take him with a top 5 pick, but I think, there's that discussion's happening. And then my guy, Jackson Dart. I wouldn't rule out Jackson Dart as the first overall pick if the Giants front office loves him. So depending on what they do in free agency, depending on what they do in the veteran quarterback route, and they were certainly interested in giving up a lot to try to go get Matthew Stafford, I think it makes a lot of sense for them to move up to 1. I wouldn't want to lay that number with Tennessee, especially given the amount of fluctuation I think you're going to see in those odds over the next couple of months, and the fact that we've heard reported, Adam Schefter said it of ESPN, said that the Titans will probably trade later in the process, so you'd be tying up a lot of money at a bad number early on if you take that.
Yeah, and then what do you think about Ward right now? He moved post combine minus $2 to go number 1 overall. Although I do like what you said there, but maybe the Giants have an eye on somebody else, not named Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, and it could be Jackson Dart. Who knows?
Yeah, and the thing with the Giants, too, is, the Titans, we've seen lots of times, and there's quarterbacks in this draft. So, that should influence it enough where teams, if they love a guy, they want to move up to 1 to get him because, you could get sniped at 2. Somebody else could jump to 1 and snipe you there. But we've seen a lot of times in the past, with the way that the value of these draft picks have shook out, that teams can get, quote unquote, stuck at first overall because the asking price, even to go from 1 to 3, is so big. Think about the Niners trade. We saw the Rams and the Titans traded previously. The Eagles went up to 2, right? We've seen all these trades for to go get quarterbacks at the top of the draft is so expensive that if you are the Giants and you don't want to mortgage your future, maybe you say, we like 2 of the 3 quarterbacks or all 3 of the quarterbacks in this class. We're just going to sit here at 3 and let the draft come to us and without having to sacrifice all that future value. So, yeah, I think Cam Ward deservingly the favorite at minus 200, but I would not be betting that either because I think he's not as sure a thing as we've seen some of these other top options, whether it was like Caleb Williams going 1 overall, Trevor Lawrence going 1 overall. It's not that sure a thing. So if it's me, I'm looking at maybe some other value spots I don't know about, to go first overall. I know the Abdul Carter, people have some 60-1 tickets. Wouldn't rule that out. I think the Titans could go in a different direction. But I think, I'm not laying anything on an NFL draft betting prop or bet in general in March that's that isn't good plus odds.
Mm-hmm. What do you think this means for Sam Darnold and his next landing spot?
Yeah, he's a really interesting one because I think it's flying under the radar, guys. J.J. McCarthy had a setback during the season, and they expected to be ready for the start of the year. But if you're Minnesota, you have Kevin O'Connell, who's done an incredible job, can coach up a roster in a quarterback room that maybe isn't perfect. You obviously have Justin Jefferson in his prime. We'll see what they do. They have a lot of free agents they got to deal with. But you have a team that, just won a ton of games and was very nearly the 1 seed in the NFC. Home field advantage throughout, all of that. So I think if you're Minnesota, you still have to kind of keep your foot on the gas, so to speak, at the quarterback position, even if you love J.J. McCarthy, because if he has any sort of setback and your eggs are all in one basket, you're totally hosed. Now, with Darnold, I'm not signing him to a long-term deal, but I'm certainly thinking about the franchise tag, or maybe if Aaron, go get Aaron Rodgers and bring him in as sort of a bridge guy who, understanding that if J.J. McCarthy plays well, he can get the job. And if Sam Darnold doesn't go to the Vikings, I think one spot that makes a ton of sense, they weren't there at the same time, but a little USC reunion, Pete Carroll and Sam Darnold, it's a good environment for him. You put him in Vegas under with Chip Kelly as the coach. Yeah. This is a guy that was a pretty good head coach for a while and has been in the NFL, has been a great head coach in college and runs an offense that's going to get the ball out quickly, going to maybe sort of predetermine some stuff for Sam Darnold where he doesn't have to just hold the ball and sit in the pocket where he gets in trouble a lot of times. Alleviate the pressure that opposing teams will get on him. You run the football effectively. I think the Raiders are a pretty good landing spot for Sam Darnold if he doesn't end up sticking in Minnesota.
Okay, so what about Sanders then? Are they taking Sanders if he's there? Does he continue to fall? What do you think of his pro prospects and where he could go?
I mean, I would say with Dion, with Shedeur, excuse me. I mean, I think the fear here for me is like Dion's gonna like somebody will tweet out a clip of me saying I wouldn't take Shedeur Sanders with a top 5 pick, and then like Dion quote tweets it, and all of a sudden I've got like FSU Twitter all over me. I just don't think I'm completely sold on the idea of like Shedeur Sanders just because of the like all the weapons around him in Colorado. I think there's a lot of stuff off the field that kind of comes with him as well, whether some of it's good, maybe some of it's bad. I mean, look, Dion had that stuff as well. And Dion was a, first ballot Hall of Famer, like, 3/4 of the world is covered by water and the rest is covered by Deion Sanders, like that good of a player. So like, I wouldn't rule it out, but I personally, I like Cam Ward and Jackson Dart better than Shedeur Sanders. And I wouldn't be shocked at all if, a team, especially given what we've seen in recent years, right? I mean, Bo Nix, who's an older quarterback and these guys are being pushed up a little bit because there are so many of them. Teams are more and more willing, it feels like, to be aggressive, taking that quarterback in the first round, knowing they can dip back in later if they have to. We saw it with like Josh Rosen and Kyler, obviously. So I think, I think he probably still goes in the first round because he's a quarterback. I don't think he's going to fall in the first round, but I wouldn't be surprised if Shedeur Sanders fell in the top 10.
Okay. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Talking NFL here, Will Brinson from CBS Sports. Did you love the move for the Washington Commanders to go out there and trade a 5th-round pick for Deebo Samuel this weekend?
I loved it. Yeah, I think this is a Washington team with we talk about it all the time, every offseason. Do you have a young quarterback on a rookie deal? Yes. Then what do you need to do? You need to be aggressive in free agency, in the draft, to an extent. Like, you got to be smart still, but you want to try and put as many pieces around that young rookie quarterback, make his life easier. And Deebo Samuel is the ultimate easy button. I mean, this is a guy that you're going to throw the ball short to. The screen game can go way up. I think he's a really nice compliment to Terry McLaurin, just in terms of, McLaurin can operate horizontally. Vertically. Deebo can operate a little more horizontally. You can put him in the backfield with Jaden Daniels and run some read option stuff if you want to. Like, that's not that crazy. And you have a GM in Adam Peters too, who has a large amount of familiarity with Deebo. And I'm not too worried about I think it's like Deebo's getting the Keenan Allen treatment this offseason. Like he looks fat and so he's washed. One, I would never criticize anyone for their offseason weight status. And then two, I think that that stuff is typically overblown. He's a professional athlete. I think he'd be in great shape. And, Cliff Kingsbury, man, I've always been critical of him since he left Arizona and his time in Arizona, that the second half fall offs of those offenses. I thought he did a tremendous job calling games last year for Washington, and it carried over into the second half and then into the playoffs. I think he and Dan Campbell are a really good mix because Dan Campbell executes this aggressive strategy on 4th downs, stuff like that, pushing the ball. And then Cliff has the plays correctly called. So, yeah, I love the Deebo addition. I think Washington, tracks right now is still the second best team in that division. And Philly's got a lot of free agents. So, yeah, teams don't win that division back-to-back years very often. I'm sure Eagles fans get mad at me, but I think Washington's for real.
Oh, very good. You can follow Will on X, by the way, at Will Brinson, and catch his stuff over at CBS Sports as well. Thanks, Will. We appreciate the time today.
Yeah, guys, always a blast, and I'll hit you up when I'm headed out there.
We'll see you in 2 weeks, no doubt. And he joined us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Solid weekend to come. We had a bunch of friends come into town last year for the Sweet 16 games. It was really, really cool. You can weed out some of the trash, right? Up next, tonight's NBA card. It's one of the highest totals you will see in modern basketball. Details on that coming up.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good.
The bad.
I've had it with this job. Got no food, got no jobs. Our pets' heads are falling off.
And the ugly.
First of all, that's horrible.
Wow, that was the worst piece of crap I've ever seen.
All right, eclectic mix as always. St. John's, they win the Big East title for the first time since 1985. As high as a 3 seed, they are ranked 6th in the latest poll. What a job by Pitino, and why not? Final Four, and maybe they could win it all. They're going to be a popular pick. But to come in and turn around like this and how bad this program was, 1985? Remember, they haven't won a game in the tournament since 2000. That's another one. Should have made it last year. Controversial decision. And then he comes in, they win the Big East, and we'll see if they win the Big East Conference Tournament as well. I mentioned it earlier, VCU, they are ranked in one poll. They are 24-5. They've won 14 of 15. They beat George Mason, the second-place team, by 16. They've been a covering machine. During the run, every win has been by 8+ points except one. They're in action tomorrow, and I'm buying the Cavs as title contenders also. That put me over the top. To be down that big and to rally back and beat the Celtics on the road, and they're going to get the 1 seed. And keep in mind now, they're going to get a Game 7 if it comes down to that. Huge. And I also love the timing. Severance 2 and White Lotus going on at the same time. And Severance 2 has exceeded my expectations. It drops every Friday on Apple. Only 3 episodes left. And White Lotus, we're halfway through season 3. Off to a good start. I know your guy Walter Goggins with another strong episode. We can't be compatible. We don't have the same signs. Doesn't make any sense. But Severance, too. I love Severance. What a kooky show.
I've still never watched the whole thing.
You're not through season 1 yet?
This is the perils
kid
of
with
being,
the kid again?
No, the perils of being married. I loved the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Lorraine said, I can't stand it.
Oh.
So then trying to myself, watch a show on my own with a kid, it's not happening. It's virtually impossible. So
Did you explain? It's like you separate your work life from your personal life and can't.
Yeah,
okay.
She didn't want to give it a
She
shot.
didn't get a
anymore.
shot.
So
Okay.
that was pretty much the end of it. Maybe I will. Maybe if I have insomnia again here over the next month or so, I can watch it at 2:00 in the morning. My good. Look, I've ranted about this. We all have forever. First of all, it's the buzzer beaters. How many did we have over the weekend? A ton of them, including the Tennessee game against Alabama. I don't know how Alabama lost the game. Nobody does.
Yep.
Fluky, but it was just like it started early last week with the Michigan State game from like 150 feet away. The guy nails it at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Then Michigan against Rutgers, and we had multiple over the weekend again. But that also it leads me to like the Vandy and Missouri game. Screaming about this for so long that I have a ticket on Missouri to make the Final Four. I love they lost. You had 15 chances to follow up by 3 in the final seconds.
Yep.
You elected not to do it.
Yep.
Bingo, right in your eyeball, and you lose in overtime. Good! I hope every coach from here on out who refuses to follow up by 3 points loses every single time. Get lost. It's blackjack. It's basic strategy.
Yep.
Are you going to hit on a 16 when the dealer is showing a 2? Probably not. This time, you're not going to let this guy get off a 3. But it happens over and over and over again. And rather than just like beating my head against a wall, I have to just celebrate it when the teams lose.
Well said. And it's going to keep happening, so get ready for it.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yep.
The Lakers are on my good. 6 straight wins.
Did it again.
Currently the 2 seed. A weekend sweep of the Clippers.
It's 16-2 run. If you count that, if you throw out the loss to Charlotte when Reeves got kicked out of the game. But they're on a 16-2 run. Last 18 if you take out the Charlotte game.
I think the Western Conference playoffs are going to be pretty good.
Yep.
I think Denver's going to be a problem. I've come around on them a little bit. OKC is a machine, obviously.
Uh-huh.
But who wants to play the Lakers? Who?
I know. OKC's never won a big game in their life. And it's Luka and LeBron. First things first, Reeves and Hachimura have to be okay.
Sure.
But to beat the Clippers last night, you don't have Hachimura and Reeves. And Luka was great.
Got the Cavaliers on my good.
Yeah.
How can you not? What a comeback at Boston Friday night.
Title contenders, you're buying.
They have to be.
Oh, yeah. 1 seed, yeah.
I mean, even without that game. Although I think that was kind of a big spot for them. They went out and got Hunter, I think, specifically to play Boston.
Right.
But, yeah, they are head and shoulders above every other team in that division. And they are, it's going to be, I hope we get that series, a 7-game series. The Cavaliers can win that against Boston. Depends on the price. But I would love to see what that series price is going to look like. And then I got to throw this in there as well. USC women. Nobody's talking about. Mike Palm pointed this out. They recently had a great win. They stayed number 4 overall. They blasted UCLA. UCLA had 1 loss to USC. That was it.
Yeah, I was on them when they lost, yeah.
And this was at UCLA.
UCLA started 23-0. 22 of the wins were by double digits, and then it was Watkins' time.
Exactly right. And she went for 30 again. She's going to win the Best Player award that you can bet on. And they are a fantastic story, and she's only a sophomore. And
Wow.
They're awesome to watch. My bad. The Phoenix, this is so bad now. They were blown out by Minnesota last night by almost 20. They're 5 games below 500. They're currently the 11 seed, 1 game up on Portland. And even last night after the game, Kevin Durant, quote, "We embarrassed the fans. We embarrassed ourselves the way we played."
Yep.
It is. I mean, who saw this coming with the Suns? Maybe you like their win total under or for them to be like a fringe playoff team, but like this?
I bet it over. I thought Bud would make a world of difference. I know.
Yeah.
It's ugly. So to piggyback on that, who are the 2 biggest disappointments in the NBA?
No, 76ers.
And the Suns, right?
Yeah.
Look what's going on with who's making the schedule. They're all over the national TV schedule coming up.
Are they?
Sixers were just on Saturday night. The ESPN game last night, the Suns. Knicks and Sixers play again coming up on national. Suns again. Get them off. They're terrible. Especially the Sixers, who've been the biggest disappointment in the NBA. You're allowed to flex, and you can move out of these games. Get these guys off national television. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the Sixers put a bow on this. Now, this came down when we were on the air Friday. Embiid out for the year. Out of a possible 902 games in his career, he's played 452. In 5 seasons, he's played fewer than 40 games. In September, they gave him a 3-year, $192 million extension. Over $300 million still owed to Embiid.
Good job.
And at 34 years old before the season, they give Paul George 4 for $212, who's been awful. The other one, the Mavs and Nico Harrison. How was his weekend? Mavs lost again. Lakers win. Lakers the 2 seed. Luka looks great. And then ownership. After getting rid of Luka, 25 years old, one of the best players in the NBA, calling him names out on the way out the door, what do? Today they raised season ticket prices by 8% higher based on where your seats are as well, according to one season ticket holder. The Adelsons are the 3rd richest family. When he died, Sheldon was the 3rd richest person in the world. They're worth $40 billion. They raised ticket prices after this season, and they're the 10 seed, citing it's going to be for investments in the franchise. Okay. Quickly, ugly, blown leads in college in the NBA. No one can hold the lead. No lead safe. Factor that in. Coming up with in play. And the Southeast Division, the Miami Heat are in first place. They're 28-31.
Yikes. My ugly, I have one. Where have you gone, Shawshank Redemption? Where are you at, Silence of the Lambs? Is it me getting old? Or they just, I'm going to throw this out there, Paul, they don't make movies like they used to. I have zero desire to watch
See any of them?
Any of them.
Honora was filmed right here outside. No interest?
Is that right?
Yeah.
Nothing jumps off the page.
They look weird.
Nothing has caught my interest.
Okay.
It also speaks to
the theater experience, lack thereof.
Well, that, but also like TV shows have overtaken. I want to watch TV shows. They're too good. There are too many, and you can get the character build up and find out more, and actually have like a rooting interest rather than like a 2-hour movie, and then boom, it's done. I like TV shows way more than I like movies. But from a betting standpoint, you said we only had a couple of upsets. In terms of watching it, you can't really bet the Oscars that much. Although this year the prices were not gargantuan.
No, but a lot of it came in though.
But honest to God, what has been really like rock solid in the last couple of years?
I know. I know. Crash won one year. It's not bad, but Crash won Best Picture. Shakespeare in Love. There's been some garbage, but it also goes back to controversial and what they're up against. But yeah, it seems like we haven't had a great kick-ass movie. Oh my God, I got to go see this.
The last time you saw a preview for a movie and you're like, holy hell, this thing is going to be unbelievable. The cast is fantastic.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go see it on opening weekend. That doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, you're right. All right, good job. I thought maybe you were going at the telecast angle there. Like not much happened. Like the highlight was before when Halle Berry attacked Brody.
Yeah.
Other than that, not much. Yeah. You're not great at betting every sport? Let Rhythm help. The best bettors use data to get ahead, so why not put AI to work for you this March? Rhythm's an app that helps you build personalized betting models, analyze trends, and make sharper picks for every game. Whether you're a seasoned bettor looking for an edge on those 300-plus college teams, Rhythm has you covered with AI-backed projections and insights. Start your free 7-day trial today. Download the app or go to rhythm.com, RITHMM, rhythm.com. Check it out today.
See, a movie like this would never be up for Best Picture or any of that stuff, obviously. But I will absolutely go watch the new Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise when it comes out this summer. I'll be there opening day.
As will I, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like that franchise has been amazing. But in terms of
yeah, it's also how it's stuff's released, too. And what comes out in these movies go to Netflix or Apple, whatever, or after a couple weeks, you can buy it at home for $20.
That's right. Let's follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. We will get more into the NBA card coming up next. Some of these numbers are absolutely nuts tonight, and consider this, again, they're 1-13 against the spread in this spot over the course of the regular season. Details on that next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
I'll give you that team that's 1-13 ATS in the spot tonight in the NBA coming up in a few moments. I thought this was a pretty solid tweet from Austin Abbott over the weekend. He was at the Combine and covering it for where he works, and he said a few rumors here that he was told in Indy. The Giants, you know this by now probably, the Giants and Jets are both actively trying to move up to first overall. Giants are more likely to do it. They're still plus money to pick first overall in the draft. You can get that at DraftKings. Now, I wonder what this is going to open when you get the markets like first wide receiver drafted, because he says Matthew Golden will be the first wide receiver off the board. That would be coming probably in the next few weeks or so at DK when they post everything. Shedeur Sanders is slipping. 6th overall to the Raiders is the earliest he could go. So no team will have heavy enough interest to trade up for him. And if the Raiders want him, sit pat, don't do anything, and then take him off the board if he's your guy.
What if the Raiders don't take him?
Then what?
What do they, right?
Running backs.
Would you like that prop? Who will go second overall? What quarterback will go second?
Sure.
Do you think
Dart?
if Dart could sneak up there?
Yeah. I'll take flyers like that. Running backs, Ashton Genty, Hampton and Henderson from North Carolina and Ohio State will be selected earlier than expected.
Well, okay. But with Genty, though, I mean, that's what? Raiders? I mean, he was I haven't seen him. Most mocks, I've seen him 10, 11, 12 in that range.
What if he goes top 10? That's earlier than expected. And I would still think that Scadaboo could be a first-round pick. No? I love that guy.
So do I, yeah.
So he's going to be the 4th running back taken, maybe, at best. And then maybe not a first-round pick if this is a running back-heavy draft. But he's not going to be one of them? That guy's a complete animal.
I'm with you.
And he's also very good out of the backfield catching the ball.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Colston Loveland will be drafted in the 17th to 25th overall range. And a few teams believe Quinn Ewers will have value and may reach on him. Jackson Dart is a real wild card. Some teams have a day one evaluation on him. To your point about maybe him going to, if that's true, and then Sanders slips, voila, maybe number 2 off the board at quarterback.
Steelers take him? Someone trades up and takes him?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's getting good, especially with the Giant rumors. What could happen?
Do the Niners take a quarterback?
Nah, they'll lock up Purdy.
They're going to lock it up?
Yep.
Okay. Some numbers for tonight in the NBA. The Sixers are at home to the Blazers. Blazers blew a big one yesterday on the road, catching huge points against the Cavaliers. Lost that game in overtime, and now here you go on a back-to-back. Been pretty solid, though, by the way. They're 7-1-1 ATS on a back-to-back. They're above 500 as an away dog, but your big boy, Paulie, the Sixers are 1-13 ATS as a home favorite. And now they're down to 1?
Yeah, Oubre out, illness. And I see Grimes' prop is 15.5 after he just went for 45 in the win against the Warriors. Also missed some key free throws down the stretch, too. But the game of his life. So it'd have to be Portland here. It's Portland again.
You know what that's like? That's like Jake Knapp, right? Shooting a 59 on Thursday.
That's right.
And then what happens on Friday? He comes right back to the pack and doesn't do any damage whatsoever.
Yeah. Still could have won in that
Oh, he
fiasco.
could've.
He had the 7 on the, took the 7 on 15, whatever it was.
The guy that won the tournament, side note, 1,000-1 after Friday. And people had him.
How?
We saw the tickets.
Yeah. Who had him before? Never heard of the guy.
Yeah.
Who had him before the tournament? That was nuts. But they got their win. Okay. It had to take a ridiculous performance by a role player. So go out and do it again. And tickets are $2, by the way, again. You can get in for $2 to see this game. How Philly feels about him, and I don't blame him. It's the biggest disappointment. I ran down everything coming in. So one team's been great back-to-back. One team's playing hard. The other team isn't. And maybe Maxey plays well, but I can't trust George. Oubre is out. Gordon's out. We know about Embiid. And I'll take Portland here.
Yeah, and the market totally agrees because this was 3 when our show first started, and now here at Circa, Philly's down to 1. All right. Elsewhere tonight, yeah, you said this earlier, how are the Kings favored at the Mavericks?
Yeah, without Sabonis, I mean, the Kings are playing good ball, but you have to factor in the competition. Still, Dallas has been in these games. That's a tie game late in Los Angeles. Kyrie was great. You still got Thompson and still waiting on AD, but that's a lot of respect for a Sacramento team without their best piece now and the guy who makes it all go. And we don't know when he's coming back either. So for the moment, it's been okay with Levine and DeRozan, but it appears all these teams are safe now too. At least playing because the Suns are so bad. Tough schedule. That many games under 500 as you talked about. And so bye-bye Phoenix. And these will be 2 play-in teams. Also, Golden State and Minnesota. I know Randall talked about it after the game, and they talked about it before the game as a team, how easy their schedule is and a lot of opportunities. And let's get out of this 7, 8, 9, 10 range.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And Golden State's going to do it anyways because they're playing good ball and their schedule's easy.
Where are you at right now with the Warriors still winning that division?
Well, I can't, yeah. It's
Lakers,
not going to play Butler. Butler in and out, too. And you see what's going on in his personal life? Did you read that story?
I did not.
Oh, he was paying $130,000 a month in rent. And then, according to the lawsuit, missed the last 2 months and then didn't keep up with the pool or the air conditioning and caused $250,000 worth of damage.
Oh, my God.
His deposit was like $140,000. He's paying rent, $130,000 a month in rent in Miami.
Is that a sign that you have too much money? How dumb is that?
Oh.
And
why not buy something?
Of course, yes. Yeah. You think real estate in Miami and South Beach is going to go down? What?
Oh, the story. I couldn't get enough of it. I'm like, there's more? What? You didn't. Why would you, if you're going to spend that much, $130,000 in rent, enjoy the pool? Like he wrecked the pool?
Did they say
according to the lawsuit?
How big's the house?
Oh,
100,000 square feet?
Yeah, it's your big boy.
Yeah, I would hope. I hope it's not a condo.
$130,000 a month in rent.
You're just lighting money on fire.
Oh, my God. Oh, I had to go for a walk. I read that.
I'm glad I didn't read that story.
Got that. So he's got what he's a lunatic, so he can deal with this anyways with the off the court distractions. But you just see great Steph now. And listen, I think Curry goes off and they take out Charlotte. Charlotte's been held. Take a look at the total too. Charlotte hasn't cracked 100 points. 8 of the last 9 games? So take care of business. Big performance from Steph, and then on to the Garden tomorrow. I'm dying to play the Warriors tomorrow because of the spot, but I got to see if Butler plays and what happens if they don't blow out Charlotte tonight.
I have a bet on the Golden State game tonight. I'll tell you about coming up in pocket. Yeah, that's a big number for Golden State to be laying. However, again, the Hornets are doing, I think, everything they can to maybe secure their best chances, obviously, getting Cooper Flagg.
Yep.
Hawks are playing at the Grizzlies. This total got touched 254 earlier today.
Got to play it under on principle?
I mean, at that number, yeah, but the market, already got ahead of it. It's down to 251.5. 251 now here at Circa. Grizzlies laying a big number. It's going to be, both these teams play at that pace and have super, efficient offenses.
If there's one bad 2-3 minute stretch, though, you're in trouble.
So there was a game last year. Remember, it was the NBA Cup out here in Las Vegas. The Bucks were playing the Pacers. I went to that game. We were doing mornings. It was an afternoon game, so I went. It was on a Thursday. Uh-huh. I think the total was 249, and the Pacers were playing those bonkers games last year. But I said on principle alone, I'm going to go, so I have to have action on a game when I go to it live. I'm like, it's too high of a number. I got a better number, hoping that we'd have a 3-minute stretch where just shots weren't going in. Well, what happened, those two teams, if I recall correctly, got off to a blazing hot start. I'm like, oh my God, it was dead on arrival. And then they went into like a 4-minute funk, and I won the bet. That's all you need.
Yep, something like this, yeah.
Yep. So
I wonder if Evan Abrams is on this. We've got to be one of the highest totals in 20 years.
Oh, God.
Regular season, 255?
Going back to
254?
Yeah, I know. So the Nuggets with Westhead back in the early 90s probably had games like that.
Huh.
But that's been a long, long time, obviously. Jaren Jackson, 41 and 17, under 6.5 rebounds, and Dyson Daniels, 40 and 15, over half a made three. You're paying juice on that.
Yep.
It's almost $2.
I'll take the young Pistons team to take out Utah, by the way, as well. Utah, the tank is on, baby. Utah sitting everybody tonight as well. Get our MLB betting guide, team previews, Jensen Lewis handicapping pitchers, Cy Young, MVP, World Series odds, stat glossary, general baseball betting tips, opening day, March 17th, Tokyo, Dodgers and Cubs. Become a VSiN Pro subscriber today as low as $9.99. Get your copy of the betting guide today. It's awesome. Adam Burke did a great job. VSiN.com/subscribe. Get ready for the baseball season. I'll do more on this tomorrow, but let me give you, look what they're doing to the Knicks here. At the Cavs, at Boston, blown out. Come home, play Philly. At Memphis, at Miami. Come home, play Golden State tomorrow. West Coast road trip. At LA, at Sac, at Portland, at Golden State. Come home, play Miami, go back on the road. What are you doing?
Wow.
One game, like 4 or 5 on the road. One game at home, back on the road. One game at home, back on. They're doing the same thing with the Maple Leafs, which if you ever want to make the case for a 3-1 shot, it's with San Jose tonight. They did the same thing to the Maple Leafs, which I'll talk about coming up.
Do we have updated win totals on the Knicks to bet under?
Yeah.
I'm sure some books are offering that.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go over teams that currently qualify to win the national title based on historical criteria. Ken Palm, next.